Pulse 95. Between local lines, notes from the Emirate.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back onto the Morning Majlis. Now, we've had a week since we celebrated the International Women's Day, and we've been celebrating the wonderful achievements of our women business leaders in the Emirate of Sharjah, as well as the United Arab Emirates. Now, to talk to us about the couple of challenges that some of these women entrepreneurs face, particularly the aspect of access to markets, that has been identified as one of the biggest challenge, and the barriers that they face as well in terms of development of their businesses. So we are now joined by Her Excellency Reem Bin Karam, the Director of Nama Women Advancement Establishment. A very good morning to you.
Good morning to you too, Dr. Hope all is well.
Well, it looks to be fairly good so far. We are excited about our discussions this morning. Now, let's start talking about your survey that you've done with the UN Women and looking at the big challenges that the business women face in this country. What was the biggest findings that you've seen?
I think, firstly, if we can talk about the partnership itself. Nama Women Advancement Establishment actually signed a collaboration with UN Women back in 2018, and that partnership was going to be focusing on the flagship program initiative, which we call for short the FPI, targeting basically under the name of stimulating equal opportunities for women entrepreneurs. Now, this project was supposed to be rolled out in Africa, and later on in the UAE, and hopefully finding data from the wider Middle East region. The first part of the program was actually rolled out in South Africa, and we got amazing results for this. We actually had a lot of governments, private sector, UN entities, investors, civil society, women entrepreneurs, and women enterprise associations coming on and partnering to roll out these programs. So when we rolled out in Africa, when this project was actually rolled out in Africa, over 4,800 women entrepreneurs in South Africa received training for instance, digital literacy, and to get them into the markets, let's say, and into the public's eye, in order for them to be able to, or for the governments and all these other partners to be able to source from these women, businesswomen. Now, when we came in to roll out the program as phase 2 in the United Arab Emirates, we realized obviously COVID had hit, and so what we do in Nama is always, any project, we base it on evidence research. And so we did not want to go ahead and basically roll out the program in the UAE without having the right information. And so hence the survey. Mm-hmm. It was very important for us to basically roll this out, knowing what we were dealing with and what were actually businesswomen dealing with in the UAE. And so we asked, we met again with UN Women saying, okay, we cannot roll this as a cookie cutter kind of approach because it just is not going to work in the UAE. Our demands are completely different. The restraints are different. The challenges are different. And so when we did the research, it was an eye opener for us, knowing the constraints and limitations. And that was not only due to the market itself, but also the impact of COVID and what it did on the market and the economy.
So let's talk about the surveying in a more specific manner. How was it conducted, and what was the target audience?
Well, the targeted audience, obviously, of the survey were businesswomen, but they were actually, we went and basically surveyed over 1,000 women-owned businesses and potential women entrepreneurs in the UAE to expand the knowledge on size of business-owned women, sectors, activities, impact that COVID had on their business, financial challenges, marketing barriers, training, and the support that they needed.
So basically, it was to assess the impact of the pandemic on women-owned businesses. That was the purpose of this survey?
Yes.
Okay.
To us, that was the first part of the survey. So the project is going, once we roll out the project, there will be a lot of other surveys coming down the road. But right now, what we felt the need for is to have this survey rolled out.
And let's talk about, because COVID-19's had an impact on all businesses, but could you talk to us about the hurdles that women in business, in entrepreneurship in particular, face, especially during the pandemic?
I think with the pandemic, there were a few things that came to mind, but they weren't as severe. Or let's say we always categorize them as, access to finance is always the highest. And this limited women. So they did not have access to finance, and neither did they have, and neither was the market actually accepting or friendly during COVID. So a lot of people, we understand, businesses shut down, but then a lot of new businesses came back into the market, and that was based on the demand of the need. So I remember during the COVID, we started getting a lot of requests of people wanting to open up, or females wanting to open up businesses, whether it's pharmaceuticals, masks, depending on the demand of the market at that point. But to us, that was worrying because yes, it is successful, but no, it is not, you will not be able to sustain this.
And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so in terms of the different experience that women in business have compared to their male counterparts, can you also elaborate on that part?
I think to us, we don't actually feel this in the UAE.
Okay.
Except for the access for financing, and this comes in with everyone, whether male or female. It's easier for a male because there is the bigger support. For a woman, we always tell her to get herself educated. Come back into the NAMA programs that we have, that we roll out in Badri. And so with education, they will have a better opportunity in selling their product, whether it's to angel investors, whether it's to any financial house. Prepare your business plan, know what you're talking about. And I think this is what we are facing. And this is what we always stress on, as in every woman needs to educate herself and be very able to answer all the questions, and know exactly what the market itself and what the market wanted.
And can you talk to us some more about the work you've been doing at NAMA as a support network for women entrepreneurs, the programs that you run as well?
Sure. So in NAMA, we have a 360 approach. So what happens is NAMA Women Advancement Establishment, underneath it has 3 affiliates. These affiliates, one of it being Sharjah Businesswomen Council, the second being Badri Academy, and thirdly, we have Irti Contemporary Craft Council. And what we do, we try to, so each one of them is focused on a certain aspect of society or part. So with Badri, it's all about soft skills, providing education, ongoing trainings and whatnot. So in COVID, when COVID hit and everyone was under lockdown and there is nothing happening, we actually got people to come online and start training, upgrading their skills, learning about certain things. And it was great to see the response we got. And the beauty of Badri, it's not only catered to women, it's actually catered to everyone. Anyone who wants to pick up a skill can actually visit Badri. And so that is one part of it. And then the second part of it is when, and then on Badri, obviously we have online courses, and then we have the offline courses. With the offline, it's more targeted towards university students, and these are mostly women. We do have, for instance, we released 2 years ago the social entrepreneurship program, and that was great because we started creating the social entrepreneur or social entrepreneurs in the UAE. in order to give back and get them to understand. This year, we will be releasing another program where we've looked into, bettering that program of the social entrepreneurship program. Then once they graduate, let's say, hypothetically speaking, from Barbary Academy, then they are introduced into Sharjah Businesswomen Council, and this is where they get the mentorship, all that they need, they get all the support they need as businesswomen or upcoming businesswomen. Mm-hmm. And finally, obviously, then we have NEMA that actually supports them and takes them to the international level.
Well, we cannot conclude this talk without touching on International Women's Day that we celebrate every March 8th. So I would just like to know, how did NEMA observe the Women's Day this month?
It was beautiful. And actually, what we did is we co-hosted with UN Women a virtual forum titled Moving Forward into Success. Mm-hmm. The event was attended by, delegates from UN Women and from the UAE. We had speakers. We're focusing on, so we had three guest speakers, and one of them, Teresa Sui, co-founder of Skills 3. Creative Enterprise. We had Halima Jumani, director of Gibson's, and we had Khaloud Al-Nakhi, founder of and CEO of Beyond. And the event was moderated also by Female Fusion Network. Both Jen Blandis and Kelly Whitehead were actually moderating the session, and it was there was a great turnout, and the topics, and it was very motivating and encouraging to hear from the businesswomen and their tales of success.
Your Excellency, now that we've seen this summit take place, the virtual one as well, and the findings that you've come out with the UN Women, talk to us about what's going to be the next step after this. Are there going to be any effective measures that you've got planned to ensure that sustainable growth and inclusive growth for women entrepreneurs?
Well, the survey has definitely given us a deeper understanding of the challenges directly impacting women's economic activity in the UAE. And based on the findings, NEMA and UN Women obviously will collaborate to bridge the gaps and take effective measures to ensure inclusive and sustainable growth for women entrepreneurs in the UAE through an FBI tailored to fit their requirements. And this is what we're looking forward to, and it is the team right now. Both teams are working really hard on the next phases, and hopefully, once everything we're into the next phase, we will definitely.
That's amazing. Now, Your Excellency, thank you for joining us this morning and keeping us informed about what's going on.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rami.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us, Your Excellency.
So that was Her Excellency Reem Bin Karam, the director of NEMA Women Establishment, talking to us about the latest updates and the findings that they've found through their survey conducted in collaboration with the UN Women. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis. We shall be back again and keeping you updated with the new breath test that has been introduced here in the United Arab Emirates to detect COVID-19. This is the Morning Majlis on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.